Tonight, we're going to tie another one of the FFI Bronze Level Patterns. This is a Gray Goose Emerger. This is one of the 5 patterns that are mandatory for that level. Uh, it's not a hard fly, but it is important that you pay attention to the tying instructions and follow the correct proportions. So let's go over and review the materials. For this pattern, we're going to start out with this is 12/0 Semperfli thread. This is Peacock Earl. That's going to be our thorax. Our ribbing is going to be Semperfli silver wire. And then for our body, this is a goose wing feather. Some people have a hard time finding these. I found that I can go to my local park and pick up wing feathers just about every day that I need one. So yeah, check your local park or your local golf course or anywhere where there's going to be geese hanging around. You'll definitely be able to find a feather. All right, so let's get started. All right, so let's put a hook in the vise. This is a size 10 scud hook. You can use any scud hook that you may have, any curved shank hook, any appropriate size. And when I put this in to start off, I'm going to put it in with it angling down a little bit because I'm going to tie up into pretty deep into the bend of the hook. So we're going to start with our thread, and we're going to leave a little space behind the eye. And we're just going to make a nice smooth thread wrap covering the hook shank. And we're going to go about halfway down the bend. I'm going to go pretty far, pretty deep. Now the proportions for this is the abdomen should be 2/3 the length of the thorax, or the length of the hook shank, and then the thorax should be 1/3. So we're going to measure that out, but as of right now, we'll measure it out once we get the abdomen in. Next, we're going to take our wire, and we're going to come back up to the top. We're going to tie this wire in. You need to tie it on the bottom of the hook shank. The ribbing should start from the bottom of the hook shank. So you tie it in, hold it down, hold it on the bottom, and just wrap yourself back. You tie almost the complete length of the body. That way we're going to ensure a nice smooth underbody so our herl will wrap fine, our goose herl. All right, now we're going to tie in our goose feathers. So when we select feathers, we're going to select probably 4 or 5 feathers. If we do too few, it's not going to be enough to go up the hook shank. You're going to run out of herl before you get up to the top of the hook shank, up near the eye. If you select too many, then it becomes bulky. So you may have to play around a little bit to see what works for you, but I tend to find that, let's see, how many do I have here? Probably 4 or 5 works good. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to spin our bobbin counterclockwise, so we can, when we take that first wrap, our thread's going to jump backwards, and then we're going to tie that in. And I tie it in on the near side of the hook, on my side of the hook shank. We're just going to tie it in by the tips, and we're just going to work our way back. And we're going to make sure that we go and cover up the rear thread. We don't want to leave any thread sticking out from the base. Now we're going to take our hackle pliers, and we're going to, first we got to advance our thread. We're going to advance our thread up. And we're going to run this body up into the thorax, because a lot of times what you'll see, what we see when we evaluate is we see a gap between the abdomen and the thorax. And a lot of times you'll see thread wraps. So in order to counteract that, you run your abdomen all the way up into your thorax, then you bring your wing case back. And that ensures a smooth transition between your abdomen and your thorax. So we're going to start wrapping. Keep the wraps flat, touching wraps. We don't want to overlap. I'm just going to come up the hook shank, see if I get enough, and it looks like I'm going to. See, I'm up into the thorax, so we're going to go ahead and tie that off. And we can trim that out. Now our ribbing is going to be wrapped the opposite direction. It's counterclockwise in this case, but the opposite direction of how you wrap your body. So we're going to start the ribbing. And what we want is we want 4 to 5 evenly spaced wraps. Moving up the hook shank. Make sure that they're evenly spaced, and I'm going to put a wrap up into the thorax. Now, since we counter wrap this thread, when you counter wrap and you wrap our thread normal, every wrap that you do, you're actually loosening the ribbing instead of tightening it. So what we need to do is we actually need to reverse our thread. So how you reverse your thread is we're going to use the ribbing, we're going to come around the ribbing, and then we're going to come up and we're going to wrap in the opposite direction. Now when we wrap, it's going to actually tighten that ribbing instead of loosening it as we wrap. Now once we get a few wraps, all we got to do is come around the thread again, and then we're back in the right direction. Now with that said, we'll look at our ribbing. It looks pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have probably 4, maybe 5 showing, but whatever you have on one, you should have on all 3. Keep everything consistent. All right, now we can actually change and bring our hook up to a normal spot. And we're going to wrap, and we're just going to put a few wraps just to lock everything in place. Now we're going to go back to our herl, and we're going to select a herl about half the width of the hook gap. So that's about that's probably about 3/4. So we're just going to take a few away, and that's probably good right there. All right, so we have our herl for our wing case. Now we're just gonna set this on our side of the hook shank at a little bit of an angle. We're gonna spin our thread counterclockwise again so it jumps back whenever we tie it in, and we're just going to take a loose wrap, and thread torque will actually just bring that right up to the top of the hook shank. And with that, we can bind it down. Now we need to know exactly where 2/3 of the hook shank is. So what I do, and I recommend if you're going to send these for evaluation, you do the same. So I'm going to actually measure out with a pair of calipers a space. 1, 2, see that's a little bit. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, right there. That's our spot. We want to put it in. So we're going to be about right there. So that's right there's roughly, approximately close enough 2/3 of the hook shank. Let's double check that measurement. Yeah, that's good. All right. So now we have you can see our wing case is on top of the hook shank, it's nice and wide. When we pull that forward, it's going to look good. And it's all together. It's all married together. So when you pull that forward, it shouldn't split. So now we're going to take our peacock herl. And you can use, if you have strung peacock herl, that's fine. If you have a complete feather, use that. Whatever you have. And again, we're going to spin our thread counterclockwise. That'll flatten the thread and allow that to jump back when we tie it in. A lot of times when you have trouble tying something in, that's the reason why. It's because it's the thread is too tight, and when you take a wrap, it jumps forward. It jumps away from your material, not towards your material. So we're going to bring our thread forward, and we're going to grab our hackle pliers once again. We're going to spin that just a little bit into a little bit of a rope. Just a little bit of a rope. A couple wraps, a couple spins, so it starts to cord up, and then we're going to take touching turns, moving forward. Get a nice layer of peacock herl. And if you have a spot that may be a little bit light, just go back over it. You can do that. Now we're going to tie that off right behind the hook eye. And then we can cut that out. Take a couple wraps. Now we can pull our wing case. Now we see when we pull our wing case now, since we went into the abdomen, we don't have any gaps there. It's one solid transition. So we're going to come over and we're going to hold that in place. Spin your thread counterclockwise, and then we're just going to come up and we're just going to pull that into place. Lightly pull it, then pull and snug it up. Make sure it's on top of the hook shank, which it is. Take a couple wraps. Now we're going to pull that back, and we're going to take a couple wraps in front of it, and that'll keep that, when you trim that out, that'll keep that away from the eye. Now we can just make a nice little head. You don't need much of a head. Head should be, on this fly, it should be just enough to cover all your thread wraps. Shouldn't be overwhelming. It shouldn't be super noticeable. And then we can do our whip finish. I lost a couple thread wraps, so we're going to go ahead and replace them. Sometimes that happens on these curved shank hooks. No worries. And we're going to always wrap from, or spin from back to front with your whip finish. Cut out your thread. Now we're going to double check here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're good. Now, last thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of head cement, and we're going to just put a little dab right on the wing case. That's going to reinforce it. It's going to allow that to stay together. It's not going to split on you. And then we're just going to come down and cover our thread wraps a little bit. And that's the completed pattern. You can see it's got nice even spacing on both sides. Our wing case is a third of the body. Our wing case comes over the top. It's not split. Our head is nice and clean. Peacock herl is wrapped well. That's the things that they're going to look for. I'd encourage you, if you're going to send these for evaluation, to review the evaluator sheets. It goes step by step on everything that the evaluator is going to look for, and make sure your flies are consistent, and each one looks identical to the next. All right, that's it. Anybody has any questions? Feel free to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, thank you and have a good night.